there's a whole nother group of Republican operatives who are like, no, Donald Trump loves having Elon here doing, the media work, so to speak, because he's a shield, he's a lightning rod. Instead of everyone focusing and trying to dive into every single word that Donald Trump is saying, now they're focused on Elon.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by White House reporter Christian Datoc. And Christian, we're going back to the future.
Well, that's
we're firing up the DeLorean. A top Trump world guy shared with you his perspective on the Trump tariffs.
Yeah, that's right. Peter Navarro, Donald Trump's top White House trade advisor and a big-time tariff hawk, sat with me for an interview about Donald Trump's tariff agenda, because let's be honest, basically every economist there is out there is saying this is going to raise prices on American consumers. And Navarro, and by extension Donald Trump and the White House, are saying not so fast. We're trying to change the way the global economy is structured, specifically in relation to U.S. trade. The U.S. has roughly a $1 trillion trade deficit with its top 10 trading partners. That includes, China, Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, of course, the EU, and they want to offset that. I mean, they're saying it's the biggest change to the global economy since NAFTA, since China entered the World Trade Organization. And they're betting heavily that this is going to work. I'm not so sure it will, though. We'll have to wait and see.
And so there's also questions of whether even some of these proposed tariffs ever actually take effect. Some obviously will, but some do seem to be negotiating tactics.
Without a doubt. I mean, Donald Trump has used tariffs as a negotiating tool, not only over the last month, but really for his entire political career. I mean, if you look at the exchange with Canada and Mexico, he puts 25% tariffs on the imports of all goods from our neighbors to the north and south. And then fast forward a few days, and Canada and Mexico are making concessions about addressing border security, addressing the fentanyl trade. I mean, Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, told me tariffs might be on the table when it comes to making some of these Arab countries take in resettled Palestinian refugees out of Gaza. But I do think when it comes to the steel and aluminum tariffs and this big reciprocal plan that the president hasn't really fully unveiled yet, the White House is serious about that. It's about trade. It's about trying to reshore manufacturing jobs.
Right.
And they are sort of leaving a little bit of wiggle room, because Peter Navarro told me, companies, if they want to circumvent the tariffs, they can just invest in American manufacturing. You don't have to export products to the United States, and therefore you're not hit with all of these new, barrier taxes, essentially. And I do think in the first Trump administration, when those metal tariffs were at 15% for steel and 10% for aluminum, there was something like $15 billion invested in American manufacturing of steel and aluminum products by these foreign competitors. So there is some evidence that their plan could work. It's just, I think, the scale and the speed with which they're rolling it out that has economists and consumers a little worried.
So in addition to tariffs, one of the big things that everybody's been focused on since Trump has returned to office is Elon Musk and the whole Doge initiative. And Musk has remained pretty out front, even though he's gotten a lot of Democratic attacks. You and Naomi wrote a piece about maybe he's engaging in a certain amount of damage control. What's the latest on that?
Well, the White House is definitely engaging in damage control, because Donald Trump and Elon Musk did their, stepbrothers interview with Sean Hannity the other night. And it was just like, an hour-long hang sesh, basically, to show the country, or at least Fox News viewers, there's no animosity between us. We're on the same page. Donald Trump is the president. Elon Musk is a faithful lieutenant, and they're carrying out the agenda.
An IT consultant, perhaps.
Exactly, yeah. We should get some of those shirts printed up, perhaps. But if you talk to Republicans behind the scenes, including a number who are very closely plugged into this White House, it seems like there could be a little bit of trouble brewing in paradise, mostly because of Donald Trump's demeanor, right? Like, he is a star. He loves the spotlight. I think one of his actual greatest political skills is being able to go out, field questions from the media to exhaustion, essentially, and sort of set coverage and narratives on his own terms. Sometimes he gets out in front of policy, like during his first administration, but he's been relatively buttoned up, and the White House is acting in conjunction with the chief mouthpiece, in this case, the president. That being said, Elon Musk is also a huge star.
Right.
And not only that, he's richer than the president.
Mm-hmm.
He's younger. He's more plugged in with the Gen Z, the millennial voters who put Trump in the White House this time around. And the more that reporters question Doge, the more that reporters are straight up asking Elon to come talk to us. There is concern among Republicans that maybe Donald Trump could turn on him sooner than the 4 months when his special government employee contract runs out. Now, that being said, there's a whole other group of Republican operatives who are like, no, Donald Trump loves having Elon here doing, the media work, so to speak, because he's a shield. He's a lightning rod. Instead of everyone focusing and trying to dive into every single word that Donald Trump is saying, now they're focused on Elon.
Right.
And it still signals to the voters, like, we are doing this right now. We're
Right.
taking on government fraud, government waste, and we're serious about the things we said on the campaign trail. So it's kind of just a waiting game at this point. Will Donald Trump be able to rein in some of his past instincts and keep Elon Musk by his side as that shield? Or will he go the way of, let's say a John Kelly or a Jim Mattis or any of these other top aides or cabinet officials who started out working for the Trump administration and then were kicked out the door and rapidly became never Trumpers? We'll just have to wait and see.
And one of the arguments for why maybe Trump would like to continue to use him as a shield is, so far, Trump's poll numbers are about as high as they've really ever been. Musk's poll numbers don't look so good.
No, they don't. There was a Quinnipiac poll that came out earlier this week that showed now 55%, I want to say, somewhere in that neighborhood, of survey participants have a negative view of Musk. And like you mentioned, Donald Trump's poll numbers, his approval rating, is about as its zenith across his entire political career. There is a little bit of a honeymoon period in every new administration, so we'll see how long that lasts. But Republicans, independents, supporters of this administration and President Donald Trump are certainly happy with what they're getting in these early days.
Thank you, Christian. You can read Christian and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.